Google. Welcome to the Winstructor videos for learning more about our favourite search engine, Google. Look, there are other great search engines out there, but if you ask any person that's been around the ever-changing internet world for a while, Google is, and probably always has been, their search engine of choice. The first thing we should start with is a quick look over the Google interface. Now, if you're new to Google, the first thing you'll probably think that it looks pretty bland. Hey, you're right, but that's one of the greatest things about Google. It's lean and fast. And did I mention huge? Alright, the first thing you'll see up the top here is the Google logo, which can often change to reflect what's going on in the world. So for example, at Christmas, you're likely to see a Christmas themed logo and so on. Now next we can see a bunch of menu items. We have a search bar, a couple of search buttons, and then a couple of radio buttons here to direct your search to google.com or to keep it localized to a particular country. Now, as simple as Google gets, we can just type in a query here and hit Google search, and then Google will return a list of pages that have the results that you asked for. So we typed in Microsoft, and we can see the first entry here is Microsoft.com. Now the second button here, the I'm feeling lucky button, will simply take you to the top match that Google finds in its search. So in our search a moment ago, we typed in Microsoft, and then we noticed that the first match was www.microsoft.com. This time, if we use Microsoft in our search again, and then click the I'm feeling lucky button, we'll actually end up at the website that is the top match, which of course takes us straight to Microsoft.com. Now, this is very simple as we've just seen, but any old search engine can do what Google's just done. We need to dig down further to find more specific matches to what we want Google to find. You see, the majority of people I speak to, regular users and experts alike, are amazed at how easy it is to find practically anything on the internet, and normally in the first go. Now, it's not that we're smarter than any of these people. It just simply boils down to what you put in that search bar. The information is there. You just need to know how to ask for it properly. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is we'll start with a brief tutorial about searches. Now firstly, when searching for something specific, be specific about your search. Now what I mean by this is that if you're looking for, say, a Honda Civic, then use both of those keywords in your search and then possibly add more specific words as well. Now by default, Google uses the Boolean default of AND when it searches. This simply means that when we type in 95 Honda Civic, we're telling Google that we want pages with the word 95 and Honda and Civic. We're not telling Google that we only want pages with 95 Honda Civic if those three words appear in order. Although in this instance we'd still actually get those pages returned in our search. So if we use 95 Honda Civic as our search criteria, and we'll click on Google search, you can see we have 217,000 matches returned from our search. Now I don't really want to go and look through all those, but by listing, say, a colour of blue in our search and then hitting search again, we've now narrowed it down to 44,700. So being more specific certainly helps us to get closer to what we want to find. But think more about the Honda that we're searching for. Do we want it to have tinted windows? What about its mileage? What sort of tyres should it have? Now if you're wanting to buy this Civic, how about searching for if the car's actually for sale? What area do you live in? How about searching for that? You see, there's more to searching than just typing in a couple of words. Have a think about what it is that you're trying to search for, then be specific. If you find that your search is a little more obscure, try taking out some of the specific words until you have a reasonable search result for you to be able to browse. Now back to our search. Does the car have to be blue? Or what about red? Now we're talking about OR searches. Now if you want to maximize your results, we don't want to be searching for a website that has both blue and red Civics. Of course, if a website has blue and red Civics, then this will be included in our search results. Now there's a couple of ways of using the OR search in Google. The first is to simply type in blue or red. Now we can certainly see in our search results we have Honda Civic Blue and Honda Civic Red. Next we can use Google to search for a word that the website absolutely must contain, such as our word here, Civic. Then we can use blue or red in parentheses. So what we'd do is we'd type in here, blue or red, and then we'd hit Google search. Now you can also substitute the OR here with the pipe symbol. It does exactly the same thing, so just use whatever you feel most comfortable with. Now we can also exclude certain items from being displayed in our search results. So let's say we want to find a Honda Civic that's blue, but we definitely don't want a red one. We can use Google to exclude items with a hyphen. So in this instance, we'll just remove these here. We could put a hyphen before red and then hit Google search again. And now you'll notice that we only receive Honda Civic 95 models with blue listed, and we cannot certainly see any reds in here. Now before we wrap up this basic discussion of Google searches, there's also the ability to use Google to search for quoted text. Now what I mean by this is you can search for a group of words or a phrase. So using our previous examples, we want a blue Honda Civic. So if we specifically want these 3 words to appear in that exact order, we can surround them in quotes. So we would enter blue Honda Civic surrounded by quotes and then hit Google search. And here we can see we have blue Honda Civic, blue Honda Civic, blue Honda Civic. So quoted searches can be very useful if you want to search for a particular order of words or a phrase or some song lyrics or so on. Of course, we can also include our previous searches to again narrow down the results. So we'll add in another quoted search of for sale, and then we'll say we don't want to have red. So we'll hit Google search again, and now we can see blue Honda Civic for sale, and I certainly can't see any reds in there. So great, we've narrowed down our search again. And on the right up here, if you recall, our original search was 217,000 matches. We're now down to 82, so that's a lot more manageable. Now you can also, by the way, use an asterisk as a substitute for words in a search. So for example, up here in our blue Honda Civic, we could actually use a blue asterisk Civic, and now this will actually match the phrase blue followed by any word followed by the word Civic. So we'll click on Google search again, and we can certainly still see blue Honda Civic, blue 2000 Civic. Now I should also point out that Google doesn't support the use of this asterisk in place of letters in a word. So in other words, as we've seen, blue with a space and then an asterisk and then another space and then Civic certainly worked. But if I was then to say delete that space there, then Google will not use blue asterisks to search for any words that start with blue and then of course have any other letters after them. Now one thing I should mention about Google searches is that it is limited to only 10 words that it will search for. Now you can include more words in your search, but Google will only use the first 10 to search with. Now you can actually get around this search limitation by using the asterisk. Google doesn't count the asterisk as a word, so if you're using a query that repeats several words or uses some standard English words like I or you or and so on, then use an asterisk to replace these words, and then you'll be able to use a lot more than 10 actual words in your query. Now that brings me to another point. Those common words like I, the, and, or, and so on are not included in your actual search. These are considered common words and Google excludes them from your search. So for example, if we used a search like the cat was in the yard and then clicked on Google search, we can see the first result we get here is for fiberglass cloth. Probably not exactly what we were trying to search for. And up the top here you can see that these following words were not included in our search, and these are the words the, was, in, and the. Now of course we use those words quite a lot up here, so really all we've actually done is search for cat and yard. And of course that's not very effective. Now omitting these words obviously produced an entirely different set of results than what we actually wanted. So to include these words, we actually have two options. We could either use a quoted search, so we'll just pop quotes around these here, and then we'll click on Google search again. And now we actually see we do get a result back here with the cat was in the yard. Now the next method of including those common words is to append each of them with a plus. So what would actually make this is something like that. And we'll click on Google search again. And here we can see our results. Now the obvious difference in the two searches we've just done is that the quoted search will search for the exact text, whereas appending words with a plus just includes the words in the text to search for, but in no particular order. Now another thing to be aware of is that Google is also case sensitive. So if you were to type in red red or red, this sort of case sensitivity will have effect on your search results. So bear this in mind if you don't find what you're looking for. Finally, give some consideration to the order in which you place your search words. Searching for 95 Honda Civic will yield different results from if you search for Honda Civic 95. So place your most important search criteria first in your search order. Now in this video we looked at some basic Google searches. We discussed why being specific in your searches can dramatically narrow down the search results that you'll get. We also discussed the Boolean operators AND and OR, and specifically how using the OR operator can yield more specific search results. Finally, we looked at quoted searches to search for specific phrases and how to bypass the 10-word limit that Google has by using an asterisk in quoted searches.